Hey, I'm Craig. Thank you. That was really lovely. What do you do when you find yourself feeling aimless? When it's a Tuesday morning and you feel restless and you don't know what to do? I heard doom scroll. What do we do when we lack motivation? Things that used to fill our days with joy are now kind of just like, okay. Maybe we feel anxiety about the future. It's like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? This? Did I pick the right major? Is this what I want to give my life to? I mean, yes, everyone talks about how great it is to have a family, but is this what it is? What do we do when we find ourselves feeling low motivation? Our days feel aimless. Anxiety about the future. What do we do? What if those things aren't bad? See, in the moment, they feel not good. It feels like, oh, I should be doing something else. This morning, though, I want to just pay attention to those moments when we find ourselves just feeling uncertain, insecure about the future. Is this really it? I think if we pay attention to those moments of insecurity, we will find it's an invitation to a shift. And that shift is holy. I have to say it like that. It's a shift that is holy. I've practiced that and practiced that. Okay. I really think this shift that is holy is an invitation for all of us that when we feel, and we all get there, like my wife and I, some of the sources of our tension in our marriage have been, you are always confident, and so when you say things, I'm just like, oh, he's thought this out. And I'm like, I may look like that, but beneath the surface, there's like duck legs, just, All of us, no matter how old you are, how young you are, we all find ourselves at these dead ends. Like, is this what I wanted to give my life to? Man, I don't feel like a ton of purpose. Oh, that P word. That word purpose is a really good indicator of how strong of a root cynicism has taken in our lives. If we're talking about purpose, I think I can find my purpose. I think this is what I was put on earth to do. Cynicism can be like, that's naive. Oh, you have a purpose? Look, we're all just trying to survive here. We are deeply persuaded, I'm deeply persuaded, that if we pay attention to moments of aimlessness, frustration, that something holy is about to take place. And that holy thing is moving from being the hero in our story to becoming a hero maker in others' stories. We are what Joseph Campbell called homo narratus. We are humans who make sense of our lives via story. We're all telling a story, and we all see ourselves as the hero of that story. Jesus, though, invites us to play a different role in the lives of others. Instead of saying, hey, how can I be the hero in my own story? How can I actually help others be the hero in God's unfolding story for them? That shift right there, I think, answers those questions of aimlessness and purpose. It helps make sense of everything. It changes how we relate to each other. When we take the role of hero maker, when we lay down, okay, I'm going to step out of being a hero into being a hero maker, instead of asking, hey, what can I get from these people? We start to ask, oh, what does God have for these people? Our mission that we said, hey, what is Garden City Church? Garden City Church is a collective of people who are seeking to experience presence, discover their purpose, and then be a force for good in the world. That's what we do, but that's not all that we do. We want to come alongside others so they can do that. And it's not just The leadership here. Oh, leadership does this. We want everybody who is Garden City says, oh, I am a hero maker. I come alongside people so that they can experience presence, discover their purpose, and be a force for good in the world. We're calling that whole thing hero making. It's like, hey, God has a unique purpose for you. How can I help you discover that and live into that? That's how Jesus made disciples. This is the point of the book of 1 Thessalonians that we are going through. The very first thing that Paul celebrates in 1 Thessalonians as he starts the letter is the fact that the people in Thessalonica were hero makers. In chapter 1, verse 8, here's what he says. For not only has the word of the Lord sounded forth from you in Macedonia and Achaia, for your faith in God has gone forth everywhere, so that we need not say anything. What's he celebrating? You made God famous where he wasn't. You helped people who were far from God get drawn back to God. You did that. I didn't do that. You did that. He's celebrating, man, this is a church of hero makers. If we are going to do the mission that Jesus has given us, we cannot do it alone. We absolutely have to be a hero-making church. Why? First off, that's who Jesus was. He would preach. Then he'd send people out to preach. Hero-making. But secondly, though, the mission is too big for a small group of people to do. It's way too big. It's like, no, how can we empower each other? God has given a unique purpose to your life. There's shared purposes we all have, like worship, fellowship, discipleship, evangelism, those shared purposes we have. But what's the unique purpose God's had for you? We want to help you discover that. We want to move from being aimless and like, we want to see that as a sacred moment. Man, I'm on the cusp of something new. What is that? This morning, I want to keep making a case for you. What's that new thing that God might be inviting you into? Is hero making. It's way less exhausting than trying to be the hero of the story. It's like, can't everyone see how great I am? Why don't they see this? My story is unfolding just according to plan and no one appreciates it. It's so frustrating. It's like, I wasn't made to do that. I was actually made to surrender and then be, all right, God, what are you doing in these people? How are you bringing people back to yourself? What are you doing in them? It's way more energizing. It's love, and love multiplies. So this morning, we're going to look at two ways, two invitations, two things hero makers do as we ask this question, what does God want for people, not what does he want from people? There's two things that are really going to aid on our quest to be hero makers. And before we look at the Bible, I just need to say this. It's really important. If I sound like just a broken record, I make no apologies. Last week, Luke talked about motivation. What's motivating us to be hero makers? Please go back and listen to that if you're like, okay, you've given me a new box to check. This is what it means to be holy. Now I got to be a hero maker. I used to think it just meant read my Bible, but now it means I got to be a hero maker. Motivation matters just as much as the thing we're doing. And we don't want to be motivating you with dirty fuel. We're not trying to, hey, you want to please God? Try this. Hero making, that's what really pleases him. Well, this is a new way for you, a new performance treadmill for you to jump on. I would rather, if you haven't listened to last week, just leave, go in the parking lot, listen, come back for the coffee after. Nobody will know. You'll be fine. It'll be great. I just want to give you this week, though, two ways that we can say, I want to make that shift from seeing myself as the hero to helping others be the hero in God's unfolding story for them. So if you have a Bible, if you have that notebook, we're going to be in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. 1 Thessalonians 2, 1 through 12. If you are clicking on a Bible app or you got a physical Bible, it's near the end of the New Testament. There's a bunch of words like that, go eat popcorn, the Galatians, Ephesians, keep going. There's a bunch of T books. This is the beginning of the T books. 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, Timothy, Titus, beginning of the T books. Chapter 2. Ready? All right. No, I promise. I believe you. That wasn't like a shame thing. I don't know what I was expecting. For you yourselves know, brothers and sisters, that our coming to you was not in vain. But though we had already suffered and been shamefully treated in Philippi, as you know, we had boldness in our God to declare to you the gospel of God in the midst of much conflict. For our appeal did not spring from error or impurity or any attempt to deceive. But just as we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel, so we speak not to please man, but to please God, who tests our hearts. For we never came with words of flattery, as you know, nor as a pretext for greed, God is witness, nor did we seek glory from people, whether from you or from others, though we could have made demands as apostles of Christ. But we were gentle among you, like a nursing mother taking care of her children, so being affectionately desirous of you. I just had to say for a second, I have no idea what I just read. Like, the ESV is great, but it stays in the vein of the King James, and so it's like kind of trying to have that old English. And so I just read, I would never say this, so being affectionately desirous of you. It literally says we really, really like you. All right, so I just wanted to make that clear. I'm like, I hope people understand what we're reading. It's not just like an old... All right, we're good? Paul really likes these people. We were ready to share with you not only the gospel, but our own selves, because you became very dear to us. For you remember, brothers and sisters, our labor and toil. We worked night and day that we might not be a burden to any of you while we proclaim to you the gospel of God. You are witnesses. God is our witness. How holy, righteous, and blameless was our conduct toward you believers. For you know how, like a father with his children, we exhorted each one of you, encouraged you, charged you to walk in a manner worthy of God, who calls you into his kingdom and his glory. I'm going to pray, and then we're going to jump into what does hero making look like? What are the two invitations Paul has for us? God, we take seriously the stories of our lives. God, we all make sense of our lives based on the story we tell ourselves. God, I pray today a shift would take place, that we would feel the security, safety, and freedom to become hero makers, to help people find their place in your unfolding story for them. I ask all these things in Jesus' powerful name. Amen. Amen. The question again that we're just trying to ask is, how do I make the shift? How do I make the shift from like trying to be the hero of my own story to helping others be the hero in God's unfolding story? And so there's a couple things we have to point out. A lot of us feel ill-equipped. It's like, man, I'm not the hero in my own story. That would be lovely. Like I fantasize about like saving the day and getting all the praise, but like I'm just struggling to get by. How in the world can I help somebody else be the hero in their story? A lot of us imagine what it means to help someone else like this, like the picture on your left. This is what most people think teaching is. I have, you don't have, you're welcome. But what teaching actually is like, hey, how can I just remove obstacles for you? How can I lift you up? How can I come alongside you? That's really, really good news for all of us. We can be hero makers. We all can come alongside each other. We all can say, like, I don't have answers. I don't have all these. I don't have to. But I can come alongside you and just be curious. Lord, what are you doing right now? What are you doing? And so the first thing that we need to be a hero maker is this idea of vulnerability. Hero makers serve with vulnerability. Listen, this is what Paul is saying. If you feel comfortable doing this, take out your pen and cross out something for me, all right? Cross out in verse 7 where it says, but we were gentle among you. Cross out the word gentle and write the word infants. That's literally what Paul is saying here. We became infants among you. And the translators try to smooth it out because then the rest of the verse is actually kind of confusing because he's like, just like nursing mothers with their babies. And it's like, what? Like, Paul is mixing metaphors. Sometimes he says confusing things, but here's what he's saying. I'm a hero maker. So how did I come to you? Did I come to you like, hey guys, here's all the tales of how I did it, and come on, you can do it too? No, he came in vulnerability. See, we naturally think, man, if I share stories of my success, that's going to make people want to be like me. That might be true. Like, our successes do inspire people, but our vulnerability creates connection. Our successes inspire people, but our vulnerability creates connection. As Paul is writing to this church, he was wildly vulnerable. You heard what he said in verse 2. He's like, hey, you remember that we suffered and were shamefully treated in Philippi. And as we read this, we're like, I don't remember that. What are you talking about? The story of the church in Thessalonica happens in Acts 16 and 17. In Acts 16, Paul is traveling around telling people the good news about Jesus. So he goes to a town called Philippi, and he gets beat up, like physically assaulted. He's in this guy Jason's house. There's a mob. That's never a good sign. They drag Jason out. They take money from him. They beat him up, and they're like, get out of here. So Paul goes to the next town. And you know what happens? Something very similarly. And this is what Paul is using as proof that his message should be accepted. That's a strange branding tactic. It's like, look, I'm going around getting beat up for this. And I came to you like an infant. Think about infants. If you have a baby, your baby is the most adorable baby ever. I love it. I do not like babies, though, except yours. I do not like holding babies because of this thing called a soft spot. I do not want to be responsible that your kid can't read because I bumped its head holding it. Like, they are so scary. They're so soft, and they just are in your hands, and it's like, this isn't fun. When is this over? I didn't even really like holding my kids that much. We had this apartment, and I remember I held Jet like this when we were first born, and I went like this, and there was a door frame that was millimeters from his head, and I'm crying, like, why do I have to do this? That's how Paul said he came to the church in Thessalonica. Vulnerable. Hero makers are not coming saying, look how impressive I am. Be impressed. Discipleship is not, I've got it all nailed. I've got it figured out. I've got it together. We actually grow just as much as when we share our weaknesses. It took me a really long time to learn as a pastor. I thought, okay, I've got to know the Bible. I've got to be a great communicator. And I've got to be really good with people. All right, I'm going to do that. And so then I'd be in settings and I would hear things that were very confusing. People are like, you think you're better than me because you know the Bible? I'm like, what? No, I just desperately need your approval. Like, I don't think what are you talking about? We got our wires crossed there. I just need you to be like, okay, he's worthy for us to follow, and so we're going to follow you because he knows a lot more than us. But that wasn't the message going across. It was, geez, who does this guy think he is? It's exhausting trying to be the hero in our own story. The vulnerability says like, oh, I surrendered that. There is a hero in this story. He redeemed and rescued me. I don't have to be the hero here. I'm secure. That can create interdependence. Now, please hear me. As Paul is saying, hey, as an infant, I came to you with needs. What's the fruit of that? He celebrated it in 1:8. Coming with needs, saying, hey, man, we were vulnerable. What was the fruit of it? Is that the church in Thessalonica picked up the mission and took it farther than Paul could. Thessalonica was like the capital city of Macedonia. What is Paul saying? You not only rocked Macedonia, you went to Achaia as well. You're like, where is that? I don't know, but it's huge. Paul's saying, you did what I could never do because I came to you in vulnerability. Hero makers start when saying, man, I'm vulnerable. What's the difference between vulnerability and codependency? See, vulnerability says this, like, hey, I need you to show up. If you don't show up, I go without. Like something's going to happen. Like your presence is needed. I have a need that I'm counting on you to fill. And this is a big and. And if you don't, I'm going to be okay. Codependency says, I don't know where I end and where you begin. So I need your approval. I need you to do all these things for me. I can't meet my own needs. Help! But vulnerability says, no. I'm secure. I'm going to be okay. Therefore, I can be fully present. I can show you my needs. I don't have to impress you. See, when we still try to impress people, we still want things from them. We're not yet asking, what does God want for you? When we're like, man, especially in the spiritual realm, in our spiritual lives, this is so subtle. It's so subtle, and sometimes the more subtle things are, the more sinister they are. It's like nobody's coaching and helping us. Like we're kind of like wandering in the dark in our spiritual lives. It's like, I just want someone to tell me I'm doing a good job. And so it's like, well, man, we see you're doing a good job. It's like, oh, great, okay, I'm doing a good job. That's fine. Like we all want outside encouragement, but then that quickly morphs into like, I need your approval. Because if I know I'm doing okay because you said I was doing okay, that has shifted into codependency, not vulnerability. Hero makers come from a place of security where they can say, man, I know that I'm seen, safe, soothed, and secure. By God, He sees me. He loves me. I don't need you to support my hero's journey. I'm here to support your heroes. I come alongside you. You want to go there? This is where we're headed. Vulnerability. How do we do this? 2 ways we can do this. 2 ways we can embody vulnerability. Number 1, be quick to ask for help. I was talking about this with somebody this week. We were having a conversation about asking for help. Here's how it went. It's like, I hate asking for help. I hate asking for help. I like it when people ask me for help. Me too. That's weird. I have this deep belief, oh man, if I ask for help, I'm going to be a huge bother to somebody. They're going to make you again. Don't you know how to do this? I already showed you once. This is getting annoying. But I have thought that, but very rarely thought that when people actually come and ask me for help. When people ask me for help, I'm like, oh my gosh, they think I know how to do something. They think I'm the type of person who wants to help them. This is fantastic. It's a gift. You can be helping someone on their journey of following Jesus by asking for help. You know what? I had a ton of professors. I had a world-class professor who would be flown out to secret conferences in countries I'd never heard of for like very obscure talks that like were put on by the government, and then he'd come back, and it was amazing. Like, wow, and I was very impressed by that professor. But he didn't make the biggest impact on me. You know what professor did make the biggest impact on me? A guy named Dr. Plummer. You know what he would regularly do? He'd regularly say things like, I don't know. He would also say, hey, I want to jog, but I'm really not disciplined. So will you 5 jog with me? And then like the fear of leaving you out in the cold and me not being there will probably get me to jog. You're like, wow, this guy's awesome. What's he doing? He's being vulnerable. What are the spaces at work? Look, the problem with hero making, one of the reasons it's so hard for it, we don't experience families where this is practiced. We don't experience workplaces where this is practiced, schools. This is so rare. We're all trying to prove, I can do it, I know how to do it. Harvard Business School wrote a book called An Everyone Culture. 50% of employees' time is spent hiding the fact that they don't know how to do their job. Think about that for a second. That's not like an indictment, that's not a shame, but it's just like, I cannot be found out here. Why? Because there's a line of people that will take my job. At your workplace, you're like, I don't know how to show Jesus in my workplace. Ask for help. It just shows like there's something different about these people. Why? And you're just going to put a little rock in their shoe. Ask for help. The second way that we can serve with vulnerability, be quick to apologize. Paul says we became infants among you. We were needy. Here's the thing about immaturity. Here's the thing about infants. Infants frustrate you. I know this is true, not just me, because like before you leave the hospital when you have a baby, someone sits you down and is like, if you ever want to strangle this thing, okay? Just think about that for a second. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where another human has like had to talk you out of murder. But like, don't. You're going to want to shake it. Don't. All right? Babies can be really frustrating. Here's the beautiful thing about vulnerability, though. The flip side of that is we can be quick to be like, I'm sorry. Oh, man, was I frustrating you? Oh, did I bump into you? I'm sorry. See, if we don't have to defend ourselves, if we know that there's somebody else who's gone ahead of us, Jesus, who is our defense, who delights in us, and now we don't need others' approval. We're not trying to be the hero, and we're not trying to be like, oh, I got to get their approval. We can be really quick to be like, yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. Sorry. I stepped out of it. That wasn't how I want to show up. I'm sorry. What if we were a community that was quick to apologize? That's also really rare. A lot of us, shame has such a space in our lives that we cannot bring ourselves to say those two powerful words, I'm sorry. Because we fear if I say sorry, I'm saying there's something deeply wrong with me. But people who can be like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sometimes I mess up. That comes from a place of security. And that invites people into this process. That's hero making. Being quick to ask for help and then being quick to apologize. The second way that hero makers do that for us is they remind us who we are. This is going to be in two verses, verses 5 and 6, and then verse 12. Here we go, verses 5 and 6. Paul is making a defense of himself because religious leaders came into town after Paul and was like, this guy's bad. He's not really following God. He's deceiving you. He's tricking you. He's bad. So listen to the defense Paul has to give of himself. What does he say about himself? Have you ever heard a pastor defend their ministry this way? All right, this is what I want to think about. What was he doing that this was his defense? Ready? Here's his defense. We never came to you with words of flattery or a pretext for greed. Now, why is he having to say, look, we weren't just trying to flatter you? Because he was saying nice things. He's like, look, that wasn't flattery. See, flattery, the difference between flattery and praise is this. Flattery says this, I'll celebrate you because I want something from you. Where praise says, I celebrate you because I want something for you. Those are a world of difference. We live in a toxic culture. Gabor Mate has a whole book about how we live in a toxic society. It's actually incredibly freeing to just admit that. You're like, oh, yeah, politics, news, doom scrolling. Oh, that's all toxic. Oh, yeah. That's freeing. We live in a toxic society where it's hard to imagine someone just saying something nice to us because they had it as a thought in their head and they wanted to set it free. That's what Paul is saying. I didn't want anything from you. I didn't come to you as a pretext for greed. All those nice things I said about you, that was not me trying to get anything from you. That was discipleship. That was me trying to persuade you and convince you how God feels about you in Jesus. Then listen to what he says in verse 11. For you know how, like a father with his children, we exhorted each one of you and encouraged and charged you to walk in a manner worthy of God. Pause again. Remember, we're reading from the ESV. It's a great translation. What's your favorite translation? They're all fantastic, all right? They're all great, but they're all trying to do different things. One of the things the ESV is trying to do is stay in touch with the King James. And it's great, but it's trying to elevate the language. It's trying to make it sound more formal. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. There's a place for that. But one of the things you just got to be aware of when you do that is we miss things. So when I hear, like a father with his children, we exhorted you. My dad never exhorted me, but that doesn't sound good. And we encouraged you, and we charged you. Charged you. Okay, I don't know what that means. It's really important to understand when he says, we charged you to walk worthy of the gospel. A lot of us hear that through a filter of, okay. Have you seen the movie Saving Private Ryan? The last line of the movie, does anybody remember it? It won't hurt my feelings if you don't. It's not my favorite movie. But does anyone remember? Don't waste this. What is it? Don't waste this. Yep, there you go. Don't waste this blood. That's how a lot of us view Christianity. And this statement proves it. Jesus died for you. Great cost. Man, it's really expensive. The life of the Son of God. Therefore, get your act together. Live up to that. Don't waste that blood. So when we hear phrases like, oh, I got to walk worthy, it's like, all right, whew, here we go. I got to make sure that I'm worthy of the blood of Jesus. All right, that is not what Paul is saying. I'm not a scientist, so take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. What I understand about distortion pedals and guitars is that distortion pedals work because they take sound waves and separate them a little bit. And so depending on how they separate them, you get different distortion. So you'll get like a chorus, if you separate it a lot, it kind of creates this echoey, don't fear the reaper sound. Don't fear the reaper, more cowbell. And if you kind of leave them together and raise it up a little bit, you get like that Kurt Cobain sound. What Paul is saying when he says walk worthy, he's talking about, hey, those sound waves, don't be off, be in step. Bring together, integrate what God has done for you into all of your life. What can that look like? It's like, man, I love grace. I absolutely think that Jesus saves us by his grace. But I'm incredibly stingy, not very generous over here because I don't think anyone's caring for me and the world has not many resources, and if I'm not looking out for me, that is not worthy in the sense that it's out of step with what God has said. And Paul is saying, let's bring these things together. How does he do that? Back to verse 5. We did not come to you with words of flattery. What a wild thing to say. He said, what we said about you was true. I am a Christian because of ideas shared by people like J.R.R. Tolkien. When we share the gospel, our secular friends and neighbors, you in here who don't believe, you should totally have the idea of like, that's wishful thinking. J.R.R. Tolkien said that we are so familiar with catastrophes, and there's a reason why we love stories with happy endings. It's because it's an echo back to the big story we're living in, where the empty tomb says we're not headed toward a catastrophe, but a eutastrophe, where everything ends up beautiful, well, happy, and good. You should hear that, and if you don't believe, be like, that's wishful thinking. We're getting close to the New Testament, if that's the case. I believe the Bible. I believe in Jesus because I believe in beauty, and I believe in happy endings, and I think this one wins. And to quote Robert McKee, whoever tells the best story wins. And I think the empty tomb tells the best story. And so Paul takes that good story and he looks at a church in Thessalonica and says, man, this is who you are. You're dearly loved. You are called. You are capable. You have purpose. If you're wondering what life in the Roman Empire was like, read Game of Thrones and then stop because it's so disturbing. But I don't want to tell you what to do. You do whatever you want to do, but I just, wow, this is scary. That's what life in the ancient world was like. No one cared about you. It was violent. You were just an object to be used. And now the God of the universe says, I see you and I have a purpose for you. And hero makers remind us about who we are. I have a friend and he's married for now. And he doesn't like to tell his wife he loves her. If it changes, he'll let her know. He also doesn't like to celebrate his wife because he doesn't want to get her to get a big head. And that's why I say he's married for now. I truly don't see that ending well. See, we think like, oh man, one of the strangest conversations I've ever had. Someone in the military took me out after hearing my preaching. And he was like, I don't know what to do with you. I was like, what do you mean? And he said, are you like a Joel Osteen? I was like, what do you mean? He goes, I don't leave church feeling bad. I leave church feeling good, and that feels bad. I think I'm supposed to leave church feeling bad. Now look, if you're in here terrorizing your neighbors and shooting guns at people's mailboxes, and you leave here being like, man, this is great. Like, I'm not trying to make you feel better about that. But I want you to know how sacred your calling is. The God of the universe gives all of us a shared calling as a body of Christ. But he's given you something only you can do. And to quote John Lewis, if not you, who? He's given something unique for you. You can change your family tree. You can change your office. You can bring the kingdom of God into the strange places you find yourself. And only you can do that. And Paul believed in you. What if there was a faith community that says, we believe in you? Man, look at the potential in this room. You know what? If Garden City never grows beyond 200 people, our impact is still going to be outsized. There is so much power in this room. This is a room with people who are like next level, like legitimate geniuses. There are people who like, man, Johnny on the spot, you've got a need, boom. People, there are caretakers. This is like heaven breaking in. And we can pour gas on that fire just by doing one simple thing. It's 4 letters. I want these 4 letters to be so popular here. I see in you. I see in you. This is what hero makers can do. We can say, hey, look, here's something I see in you. What could it be? A gift, an ability, Jesus. Man, the way you listen to that person, I just saw Jesus in you. I see a talent. What if a church community regularly practiced that? It feels strange at first. I just want to say something I see in you. Man, we were at home groups the other night, and somebody shared something we didn't know what to do. It felt big. It felt like the first time they'd ever shared it. And to be honest, I was scared. I didn't want to show them I was scared, so I didn't know what to do, so I looked at my shoes. But then I looked up and I saw you, and you were locked in, and you were fully engaged. I think you changed the course of that person's life. I see that in you. That's going to feel awkward, right? Nobody's asking us to say this. Nobody's like, hey, you know what, why don't you go be more encouraging? Like, we didn't grow up in homes where this was practiced. We don't work in offices where this is practiced. This is not going on in our schools. But we swim against the current, and this is a huge component of discipleship. How many of us are like, man, well, I never got this. How beautiful. We get to rewrite our own history. We get to be the people who believed in us that we never had. We get to change people's story. And this does change people's story. Steve Cuss, he's really great. He used to be a pastor, but now he helps leaders thinking about leadership anxiety. His son played basketball, and there was a ball hog on the team. It's hard to imagine in youth basketball. But there was a ball hog on his son's team, and his son would come to his dad and he'd be like, Dad, this kid is so annoying. Never passes to me. And so Steve just like sat and he thought, okay, son, I've got a plan. I want you to pass to him 20 times. Dad, I don't think you heard me. He is a ball hog. He goes, yeah. So pass to him 20 times. All right, I'll try this. So the next game, ball hog goes. Steve's son gets the ball, passes to him. Around like number 17, pass number 17, he was feeling crazy. What is wrong with my dad? But something happened around pass 22, 23. The kid passed back. Why? Because after 20 times of receiving the ball, he finally believed something to be true. I am on a team. These people have my back. I'm not on my own here. If I give up the ball, I'll get it back. We are forgetful and slow people. We need to daily be reminded this isn't a performance. We're not trying to gain God's approval. We're loved. He loves us so much, he entered the story, rescued us from the domain of sin into the kingdom of his marvelous light. And in that kingdom, you are the son and daughter. You are a full heir with all the rights. We got to keep reminding each other of that because we forget. And these I see in you moments are ways that we can, oh man, yeah, nobody's heard of you because you're like the best kept secret. But if they had heard you, man, you'd explode. You're incredible. This is so cool to be around you. And over time, we start to believe that. I went camping this weekend because I love my family. And I met a woman whose life was changed by a hero maker. Her name was Melody, and she's a single mom. And I just started this practice. I got to be careful. I'm giving you all of my conversation techniques. But I started this practice when I meet somebody who shares something vulnerable like that. I always try to ask this: what do you wish we all knew about being a single mom? So whatever someone shares, like, oh man, I'm a whatever. What do you wish we all knew about that? So I just said to her, hey, what do you wish you knew? What do you wish we all knew about being a single mom? And she thought. And she said, I just want everyone to know it's possible. People can do it. They don't have to stay in abusive situations. They can leave and they can do it. Oh, that's beautiful. And then she kept thinking. And she said, it was doable because of this guy, Gene. She grew up in Colorado. And tell me about Gene. She goes, well, it was really strange. But my son was, he was getting in a lot of trouble. And Gene said, hey, can I hang out with your son? And I was like, whoa, who is this guy? And so we started hanging out together and we started building trust. And it turned out Gene did not want anything from my son. He just wanted something for him. He was a grandfather, his grandkids lived far away, and he didn't have anyone to pour into. So he taught my son how to fish, taught him how to change a bicycle tire. He poured into him. Totally changed the trajectory of my young son's life. And so now he's going from getting in trouble to now he's like this little entrepreneur and he's running a paper route and he's just growing and like crazy. Well, situation changed and we had to move across town, so we left that church. And we were really scared, like, oh man, what's going to happen to my son now that he doesn't have Gene in his life? And so the first Sunday, I get invited over to somebody's house for dinner. And she's like, I can't tell you how awkward I was. Like, I'm not middle class. This is like a total middle class suburb thing. And I'm like, I don't know, what do middle class suburb people talk about? So I'm like, hey, what do you do for work? And she said, the guy replied, oh, I work at First National. And she goes, okay, now what do I do? I use my only trick. And she goes, oh wait, I know someone that works at First National. Hey, do you know a guy named Gene who works at First National? And the man stopped what he was doing. He said, that's not James out there, is it? He said, what? For the last 10 years, we've been praying for your son. And then Gene just loved that boy, wanted big things for him. And now that he's shifted churches, we didn't know what would happen. And he's in my living room. That son got a new hero maker that day. The odds were stacked against that kid. And he's thriving. And that changed not only his family tree, but the faith community he serves in, changes the office he works in. You can do that. You can be that for somebody. How? By this little shift of saying, I'm not here to get something from you, but I really do want something for you. And that little shift makes all the difference, and it brings that distortion pedal closer together. God, God, I just want to express gratitude for the people here. God, you have brought everyone here for a reason. We're not in this room by mistake. God, I pray that you would be stirring our imagination. What are the ways that we can be the hero maker? God, I pray that as we bump into people this week, we would shift from what can I get from these people to what do you have, God, for these people? And how can I come alongside and just help midwife that? God, how can we be people of vulnerability? How can we be people who remind each other who they are? God, I pray that we would see love multiply as we shift from being the heroes in our story to being the hero maker in your unfolding story. I ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.